Ah, there's the music. That means it's showtime on a Tuesday here on The Middle. And we got a bunch of the middle is gone today, but we filled it adequately, more than adequately enough, with Big Sills taking over.
You think I can fill a page?
I think you can fill the page. Absolutely. Taking over for Barrett Brooks and Eitan Shander today. I am Harry Mays. We'll be with you for the next 2 hours. And I think we're going to talk football, Big Sills. What do you think about that?
That is the best thing going on right now in the world of sports is football. The NBA, I don't know. Baseball, we just get out of the World Series. And I got to tell you, Harry, football right now has done something that has really made the other sports kind of second fiddle. The water cooler talk.
Yeah.
Monday through Friday, you know what? I mean, it used to be where, we waited for weekends. We waited for Saturday for college. We waited Sunday for the NFL. You've got Aaron Rodgers stories. You've got Odell Beckham stories. You've got what's going on with Nick Sirianni. You've got people talking, hey, maybe Jalen's playing a little bit better than what we thought he's playing. There's so many great storylines around the National Football League and around the Eagles right now. So, again, this is something the NFL is – this is why they are the gold standard in sports.
Oh, yeah, it's a 12-month sport, if you ask me. It really is. And sometimes, I have to be honest, the offseason is as good or better than the actual season when they're playing. I mean, you take, for instance, last night's game. I mean, it's kind of – you look at that matchup and you're like – and I hate the freaking Chicago Bears. I hate watching them. I hate being forced to watch the Chicago Bears. I don't give a damn who their quarterback is. And Fields played a pretty good game last night.
Did.
But watching that game, Pittsburgh is playing ugly. I mean, their offense stinks. Ben Roethlisberger is shot. But I'm watching it. It's Monday night. What else am I going to do? I'm watching the game. I was wishing beyond belief that there was a Manning cast last night. I've been dialing in on the Manning cast each and every week that they're on, and I don't tune away. I don't know about you.
Oh, I love it. You know what? Because if I was a young receiver or quarterback or someone who wanted to play football, I'd sit there with a notepad and just sit there and listen to how these guys watch the game.
I know.
It's completely different than just a novice fan just sitting back and going, hey, man, look at the way Fields is playing. And then you can hear Eli and Peyton. Then they bring on like Tom Brady, they bring on Drew Brees, and these guys are talking about over coverage, Tampa 2-style defenses. Hey, look, do you see the strong safety gives it away? Look, he just totally gave it away with his alignment. And you're sitting there going like this. That's exactly how professional people watch the game.
Right.
They get those tablets, they sit there, and they just watch tendencies all day long. That's something, Harry, that I've never been able to shake to in how I watch a game. I watch a game with tendencies. And what I do is say, like, somebody was asking me about the Eagle game yesterday on the National Football Show. They were asking me, so how do you think they played in this game against the Chargers? I'm like, I don't really look at it, how they played against the Chargers. Yes, that's a small chapter so far in the 9 games. But to me, I look at the overall body of work of 9 games. Like when someone said to me, the Cowboys got killed by the Broncos, which they did.
Yeah, they
Is
did.
there a template now to beat Dallas? Yeah, because Dallas is not the defense that people think it is. They had a lot of turnovers, and how I was looking at them was in those first 6-7 games, they were getting a lot of turnovers. Denver just ran the football down their throat. They went to some of the stuff that they did a year ago, right between the tackles and off the 2-guard, and they ended up just running them off the field. So I look at it the same way, too. Barrett and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago, Harry. We were looking at the tendencies. I don't know, man. I'll tell you this about the Eagles. I think they're getting better offensively. Defensively, it's still yet to be a work in progress because they just don't disguise anything, and it's just too predictable over on that side of the ball. They're getting better. They're getting better on the offensive side.
They are when they decide to commit to running the football.
Correct.
The thing that bothered me, and Eitan and I got into it yesterday a little bit about it, is like I didn't see that as their game plan to start the game because it took until the 3rd possession until they started to run the football. So that told me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the game plan was to start throwing the football and put him in shotgun and go through the air, and that wasn't working. So then they went back to like, well, let's get the run plays in here. And that bothered me.
But that's a flawed mentality too.
Yeah.
Because you've got to Bill Belichick, one of the greatest things that team, when he had Tom Brady and those guys were going through that dynasty, they were chameleons each week, which meant this. You didn't know what style of offense or defense that they were going to play that respected week because they went to what they were playing and the weaknesses of the opponent.
Right.
That's why you saw, Harry, a lot of hybrid guys like Vrabel, Brewski, guys who could put their hand down in the dirt and stand up in a 3 technique or a 2 technique. They had those versatile guys. That's why you went, who's really like the biggest defensive guys they ever had on that side of the ball? Richard Seymour, maybe this Hightower kid, Stephon Gilmore. It wasn't a collection of superstar guys. And and what they did was, again, if you're going to play against the Chargers, they are struggling mightily against the run. You saw how many times Jalen broke down the perimeter because Joey Bosa was crashing down inside. Why are you crashing down inside? You've got to set the edges. And when you're going to set the edges against a guy like Jalen, he struggles inside the pocket. He got outside the pocket. They were able to get the running game going. They saw that they had some magic, and that's why they went for over 170 yards, was because they were able to do it. But like you said, Nick Sirianni's mentality is this. And, Harry, it's evident in all 9 games so far. Right out of the gate, this guy wants to spread you out immediately. He's trying to spread you out to create passing lanes and lanes. And that works if you're not doing RPOs and you're chucking the ball on the seam or you're chucking the ball to wideouts and you're able to have play action pass.
Right.
You know, they've not been able to establish play action pass, but when they run the ball, they are. By the way, I got to show you this. Our people here at the JAKIB Media channel, look at this thing here, man. No. Somebody sent me a Jerome Brown. Look at this little card here, man, from when he was with the Eagles here.
That's against the Niners. Is that against the Niners?
Yeah, it's against the Niners. It's against McIntyre. I played against that guy. Yeah, man. So, I mean, look at this. These people are so fantastic. I see 98 jerseys all the time.
That's
over there at the link.
Yeah. Jerome, he died, grew up and then passed away near where my mom lives in Florida.
Oh, in Brooksville,
near
right?
Brooksville. Yeah.
Oh, my God. What?
Sad.
Hey, and you know what? I'll tell you this. The second best defensive tackle that they've had probably since Jerome Brown is Fletcher Cox, and I was kind of glad to see that they kept him.
Well, I don't think they could afford to get rid of him because of the dead money even if they trade him was prohibitive. Now, I'm sure they fielded a bunch of phone calls on Fletcher.
They did.
And I'm sure they would have liked to have parted ways if they could have afforded it because they know that he's, now is crested and he's on the downside and, probably won't be around here, playing at a high level when the Eagles get really good again. So send him to another team and let him help somebody else get to the playoffs. But the contract, they kicked the can down the road too many times on some of these contracts, and they're now untradeable. But I wanted to get back to the Eagles offense because I really want to get your take on like Jalen Hurts through 9 games. Like, I don't know where I am yet with him. There's so much that I like about him as far as like intangibles, the leadership factor, the way he is seems to command the huddle, the teammates, respond to him and all those kinds of things. He's a good guy, good practice player and, just goes out there and sets a great example and all that kind of stuff. But as far as the arm and just the ability to play quarterback in the pocket, I still don't have any answers yet. And I just wanted to get your take on that.
Well, let me throw this at you here. I put these numbers together, and he's trending for 950 yards rushing. He's trending for 3,700 yards passing. He's trending for 300 completions, 20 touchdowns versus 7 interceptions. 62, you'd like to see that number around 64, 65 in completion percentage.
Yeah.
And he's also trending at 92 quarterback rating. Would you take that, Harry, for a guy that's only started 8 games, 9 games?
I would. The completion percentage is concerning because a lot of that stuff is short passes, too.
It's
which
accuracy, too. Accuracy issues
right.
he had since he's been in Bama.
It's been an issue. So, but other than that, yes, I would for a player, that has only started how many, ever games. What has he started? 12, 13 games, something like that. So yeah, I would.
And I would throw this at you, too. The key is developing other guys. Well, right now, Devontae Smith is on pace for 70 catches and 1,000 yards reception. I mean, it may not seem all the time that they're getting him the ball, but he's going to have a grand if things keep rolling the way they're rolling. So the offense right now, I think all those numbers have picked up because of what you said a couple minutes ago is because they're able to run the football a lot
Mhm.
more effectively now, and you're starting to see play action be a factor. His accuracy issues concern me a
Mhm.
lot, okay? And I think he's a cheap man's version of Lamar Jackson,
Okay.
okay? He's a cheap man's version of that, okay?
Is he Tyrod Taylor-esque to you?
I think he runs more than Tyrod. I think Tyrod wins some games from the pocket. Remember something about Tyrod Taylor? He went to the Pro Bowl as a quarterback with the Bills. The kid can play. I mean, is he a frontline guy? No, he's not a frontline guy. But to me, he's more kind of like a Baker Mayfield kind of guy. He's in that kind of category. I think if Jalen is on that Browns team, I think Jalen's doing the same stuff that Baker Mayfield's on. Baker's
They got a
probably
great
a
running
little more
attack.
Baker's probably a little bit more accurate than what Jalen is. Jalen's accuracy issues, I think, can improve. I just don't know how much it's going to improve. So to your point, do I think that he is a guy you want to go forward with? Here, I'll give it to you this way. If you can't convince one of these big-time guys to want to come here, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, whatever in the offseason, if you can't convince one of those guys, I'm cool moving forward with them. But I'll throw this at you too, Harry. I'll tell you what, man, I don't have a problem if they clear waivers with Odell Beckham. Man, I'd like to see Howie Roseman do this.
Wow. That's
Check
today,
this out
too.
here. Now, let me throw this at you here because I've been throwing it out on my show here, the National Football Show. Okay, so I have Devontae Smith on one side. I've got Odell Beckham on the other side. Okay, well, if I'm a free agent and I'm Aaron Rodgers or I'm Russell Wilson and I walk to the line of scrimmage and I see Dallas Goedert and then I see Devontae Smith and I see Odell Beckham and I see an improving running game
in the background, in the backfield,
right. And get this. Is it a dangling chip for – this is what Brady looked at. When Brady was looking for a team, he was looking for weapons. And then maybe in the process, get this, does Devontae Adams, who's going to be a free agent at the end of this year, go with Aaron Rodgers and say, well, let me add Rodgers to this mix. Let me add Adams to this. And look at what the Eagles all of a sudden had. Look at what Brady brought. He brought Gronk. He brought AB into the room. Then he got Leonard Fournette in the room. And before you know, you got the best offense in the National Football League. I'm just saying, to me, the outlier is going to be Howie Roseman.
Right.
If I'm a quarterback, do I go like this? Do I want that guy that involved in the process here? Jason Licht, the GM of the Buccaneers, works with Bruce Arians and the team. Howie kind of like runs the team.
I know.
So I think there's still a lot of dynamics, but hey, man, at the right price, I'm not picking that $7.5 million price tag up, but I'll tell you what, at league minimum, I don't know how teams don't just say, let me bring him on for a year.
Yeah, now he's got, till 4 o'clock today?
Yes.
He'll clear waivers by then, right?
Yeah, I think I think Seattle, the Chiefs,
Patriots.
and the Packers will be
Patriots too.
Patriots too.
Yeah, I think they're always in the mix for one of those veteran-type receivers that they can get somewhat on
What if he goes to Dallas?
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, they've made stupider moves.
Yeah, they have. They have. That might have been the most bizarre game of last week. I mean, I know you had the Rams go down to Tennessee without Derrick Henry. That was a big shocker. You had Arizona rise up without their two best players and beat San Francisco on the road.
McCoy.
Yeah,
Dude,
Colt
I
McCoy.
I thought that guy was either dead or out of the league. I had no idea who he was.
I thought he was working for Sarkisian back in Austin.
Right. I go, the Texas quarterback, that kid back. I was like, holy crap.
He had like a pop gun arm. Yeah.
Dude, they beat the hell out of them. Hey, by the way, Kyle Shanahan, I would say this to you. Hey, man, you got to start winning some ball games, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
outside of the Super Bowl year. Yeah,
hey,
outside of the Super Bowl year, you look at his record, it's horrendous.
Hey, if you fire Doug Peterson, you surely could fire that guy.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing about him is there was a couple years ago, like it was probably the year that they went to the Super Bowl. I'm thinking, man, this guy is an unbelievable play caller, right? And he made who was the quarterback that the Eagles had in preseason? He was terrible. But he was with Shanahan in San Francisco, and he was a Southern Miss quarterback, Mullins.
He
Actually made that guy look somewhat serviceable. I'm like, man, this Shanahan's something. And now they're terrible.
Yeah, no,
absolutely
caught up
terrible.
in his offense, and now all of a sudden you're going like this, dude. Even Jimmy Garoppolo can't save this guy here. And you notice this: they're not putting Trey Lance in the game.
They're not putting him in there
because he has to win ball games.
Right.
Who would have thought this too, Harry? That at the beginning of the year, people were going like this. I don't really know about this Cliff Kingsbury guy. I don't know if he's the right guy. And then he takes a backup quarterback to San Francisco, beats the pants off him. This guy might have the best team in the NFC right now.
Yeah, I think this week it's a week-to-week thing, as you know. But they're the best team right now in the NFL, if you ask me.
Absolutely.
I mean, especially with what happened to Buffalo. How do you explain what happened to Buffalo? Is that just a sleepwalk situation where you're just going down there thinking like, all right, let's just roll the balls out. We're going to win this easily by 10 points.
You burned the tape on that one because what you do is you correct your mistakes, but you just move on from that because there's no explaining that except for this. That was poor preparation, I think, mentally by the players. The coaches are never, ever going to look at an opponent and not prepare for a particular opponent. They don't care. But the players going, oh, it's Jacksonville. Hey, Harry, I got to tell you this. So my first couple games, I go up to Green Bay, and we go play this Lindy Infante Green Bay team.
Oh, I remember him.
I looked at that. I was looking at their roster. They sucked out loud. They had some guy named Lynn Dickey quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and I think the Magic Man was just in the room, right? So I'm like, oh, these guys suck. Man, these guys beat the pants off us. I was like, I didn't realize how close sucking and being great is in the NFL. Dude, the difference between a 6-10 team back in the day and a 10-6 team back in the day is probably 20 plays a game. And it's not that much of a difference. So if you don't show up, especially in the parity league that we have today, Harry,
right?
The league is so even. There's just a handful of teams that are really perfect. Like what would you say this year, of all the years in the NFL, is there a true dominant football team in the NFL where you went like this? Now that team right there is going to win the Super Bowl. I can't find one.
No, none of them last for more than a week or two. Like once I start believing in the Rams, they do what they did the other night. Once I start believing in Dallas, they do what they. You know what I mean? Like it's like you start to get an idea about a team. Wow, this could be that team. Like Green Bay started out the year with that awful performance in Jacksonville against the Saints, and that threw me for a loop. Then they put together a run where they're starting to look like the best team, and then the quarterback goes and gets COVID. So it's like once you start believing in a squad, they just give you a reason to say, nope, not yet.
Hey, let me ask you this. Not to talk vaccinations or anything here, because I think it's a stupid conversation. To me, whatever somebody wants to do, they go ahead and do it. It's on your life. It's on your life. Whatever you want to do here. How'd you make this whole thing with Aaron Rodgers?
I kind of agree with Jimmy Johnson and the guys on the Fox pregame show. I mean, they let him have it because I just think it's beyond a political conversation. It's beyond even a health thing. To me, it's about your teammates. If you're in a situation on a team, it's a different dynamic than you just going and working for yourself at home. You know what I mean? Like you have a responsibility to be available for them. And that's where I kind of put it upon him, where I would have just sucked it up and done it. I might not have liked to have done. I got vaccinated. I didn't want to, but I did. And, it's funny. I went to my doctor yesterday, a cardiologist, to go for an appointment. I needed to show them that I got vaccinated in order to go see my doctor. How screwed up is that?
Oh, no. No, there's consequences when you make decisions on things. And I threw this out yesterday. And by the way, I'm not comparing health issues versus consequences here. So like when the BLM people decided not to play, and I think it was the Bucks and the Magic that decided not to play. And I'm talking consequences. I'm not talking health here. So I just want I'm asking when people make a statement and they have an opinion on something. That was over the George Floyd murder. And what did people do? All of a sudden, everybody in the NBA decided that they were going to honor George Floyd. Okay, so be it. It was an awful and ugly scene. There were consequences to that down the line, though. Half the NBA's audience no longer watches the NBA because it became political. My question to you is about the NFL becoming a political vehicle here when it comes to vaccinations. Okay, Harry, I agree with you 100%. He owes everything to his team. Why is the NFL making these guys so the protocols are public, where you're outing these guys, where the media can beat the shit out of these guys every single day they can? It's not about the 7-1 record he had. It's not about the fact that he's the reigning MVP. It's more about the fact here that he can't play. He's been outed by his organization and the NFL. Where's the NFL Players Association? Where's Tom Brady and these guys backing your union member? I agree with you when you say this. Look, we're all in this rowing the boat. You can't have one guy with oars rowing in a different direction, because you'll start running in circles. But why did the NFL decide that they had to be a political party for vaccinations? You're a football league, Harry. Look at what Major League Baseball did. They moved the All-Star game out of Atlanta, and they didn't even realize that Colorado had stricter rules when it came to voter rights, and they didn't even look at it that way. They just looked at it by moving the All-Star game because they wanted to be politics. My point is, you endanger yourself as a company, because Michael Jordan had it right. Hey, Republicans buy sneakers too.
I know.
And so that's my theory was, dude, you making the protocols public and putting it out there, what you're doing is the Cole Beasleys of the world, you're making it seem, and by the way, I'm not anti-vax and anything, and nor is anybody in this country. You know why? Look, polio vaccination, smallpox, we had them all when we were kids. I've had 16 vaccinations in my life as an American. So, I mean,
the HPV vaccination.
Yeah. Remember that little thing you used to get on your arm over here?
Yeah, that was with glass. They did that with glass. Yeah. Yeah. I forget what that was for.
My problem was just that the NFL is like so out in front of this that I think just like the Kaepernick story, I think you can alienate some of your fan base when you do this.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But the thing is too, Rodgers and I guess his teammates and the organization knew that he really wasn't vaccinated. Like, he did this immunized. He thought he was immunized with this other concoction or whatever that he's been taking. But they still allowed him to behave as if he was vaccinated by not wearing the mask. Like, Wentz has to wear the mask when he does media availability.
Yes.
Wentz has to wear the mask when he's running off the sidelines to go into the tunnel at halftime. You see him putting the mask on. And I think it's stupid, but that's their rule.
It is.
But Rodgers wasn't doing any of that. And so he's behaving as if he was truly vaccinated when he wasn't. And I think
now, is that him or the Packers?
I don't know. I think it's both. I think somebody's going to have to pay a price.
According
for this.
to the CBA, get this. There's no suspensions that will be handed down on this. The only thing will be fines with the player and the organization. So if you're running around like you're acting like you're vaccinated, isn't that on the Packers?
Partly, yes, it is. They're both at fault.
They may be the best team. And by the way, can you imagine this? What if that game costs them home field advantage?
That's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. You might end up having to go to Arizona or Los Angeles now for an NFC championship game rather than having those two warm weather teams, either one of those teams, coming to frigid Lambeau in late January.
That's right.
I mean, man. I know Tampa Bay did it last year, but my money's going to be on Green Bay at home in late January. I don't know about yours.
Oh, I agree. I'll be hey, let me tell you something. When you get off the airplane and you're driving over from Appleton and you're going over to Green Bay, there's these things called baguettes. They start freezing.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine playing in that kind of stuff.
Oh, man. Man, you roll over there to Lambeau. What's really cool, my uncle Andy Robustelli played on that same field, and Lombardi put these coils under. He had this system. It's still intact.
I didn't know he was your uncle.
Yeah, he's my uncle.
Oh, and wow. So,
get this. Well, yeah, that's why I got the jersey here, man. This is his.
Oh, okay. Now I see it. I didn't see
that.
Yeah,
you know what this is? This is his ring of. This is probably crazy showing Philly guys this, but this is his Ring of Honor jersey that when he went into the New York Giants Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
this is his jersey that he had that night when he went in. So Lombardi put this system in, right? These coils, and I used to go, come on, Andy, that's BS. I get up there, man. Sure enough, the ground is heated. The ground is heated. On the night of the Ice Bowl, it broke, and that's why that game was like on a sheet of ice. But it's one of the coldest places.
Oh, man,
that place is just freezing cold. And you're right. If I got to play a game, an NFC title game, I want it in L.A. at SoFi.
Or it might be like Dan Fouts' Chargers in '81 when they had to go to Cincinnati in that 26 below zero game.
And get this, you remember the week before they were at the Orange Bowl sweating their ass off
in that classic game against the Dolphins.
That's right, man. That hook and lateral play.
Was it Kellen Winslow or something, right?
Yeah, Kellen Winslow getting carried off the field. Then they go to the next week, and it's 38 below.
I don't even know if they scored in that game in Cincinnati.
That game was so cold. The only other game I could think of, I remember talking to Jerome. The Eagles played in this fog bowl, I think, in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. That was in '88, I believe.
Hey, and Jerome goes, I couldn't see the back. It was so
You couldn't see the goalposts.
You couldn't see it. He goes like this. I had never been in a game. Like, how do you feel punts?
Yeah, I know. That should have been postponed.
It should have been. That was such a joke. Such a bad. Hey, but the defensive side of the ball, again, we were talking with Gary Cobb yesterday from Fox 29 in Philly. Yeah. And we were saying this. I'll tell you, as much as the offense is coming along, dude, that defense, man, they just do not disguise anything. And everything is so predictable. Yeah, these quarterbacks, we were calling it therapy cover 2. That's the name of the Eagle defense, because every quarterback that goes and plays against the Eagle defense, this is perfect therapy for you. If you're coming in struggling,
exactly,
you just go against the Eagle defense. You're going to go 21 of 28, 356 yards, and you're going to get yourself back on track. Dude, they need to fix that really rapidly because, I was talking about Darius Slay and that, and they were going and Gary goes, I don't personally think that he's fallen off the cliff in any way. I think it's the scheme he's in.
Yeah, well, and then he got hurt last week too, which obviously didn't help. Matters either. All right, we got to take a short time out. We'll be back in 4 minutes. Talk more football. Harry Mays and of course the big Sills, Dan Sileo, sitting in for both Barrett Brooks and Eitan Shander. Back in 2.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. 1 free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
As a hard-working American, you've never experienced how tough life can be until now. A catastrophic injury while working on the job. A personal injury from someone else's negligence. Turned away by other law firms in the region who didn't bother to learn your story. It's time to meet the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm and managing partner Brian Fritz. Badly injured? Call the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm. Find out why they say, "We got this." Basketball is part of how we grew up in this city. And every morning, IBEW Local 98 members take their best shot, building this city, rescuing our community from decay, and inspiring the young men and women of the region to take pride in who we are, like the Hawks who will never die. Local 98 members love tradition. John Doherty, business manager of Local 98, says it this way: the best way not to forget where you come from is to never leave.
The savoring taste of a good bag of beef jerky is so enjoyable at any time of the day, as long as you can find it. Here's what we suggest. Pure Bull Beef Jerky is our answer, and soon it will be yours. Locally produced in the Philadelphia region, this high-quality, healthy protein snack is easy to secure. Go to steersnacks.com, and you'll see hot garlic, tropical heat, Pure Bull dry rub, and our favorite, Huck and Fod. What's that? Huck and Fod. Go now to steersnacks.com.
Welcome back on Into the Middle. Harry Mays along with Dan Sileo. And Barrett Brooks had to take a trip, I believe, to Florida. He'll be back, should be back tomorrow, I would assume. Dan and Eitan is out for today, and he might be out tomorrow too. I'm out tomorrow as well, Dan. We got a golf outing for a buddy of Eitan's and mine that passed away at the age of 45 a couple of weeks ago from COVID.
Really?
And he had
horrible.
and he has a wife and two kids, a son and a daughter, and just a terrible situation. So we're raising money for the family tomorrow. We're putting on a golf outing at my golf club, and the owner of the golf club has given us the club for the day for free.
Wow!
So everything that we raise will go to the family.
Fantastic.
Of Michael Tallarita, and it's in his honor. So that's where I'm going to be tomorrow, and I think Eitan's going to play in it as well.
That's a couple grand that your boy ended up being up there. I mean, usually, like, when you're doing those events, just so people know, man, I mean, they charge you like $100 a head, and you have to make over,
right?
And you charge over. That's pretty dope, man. If somebody would do that, so God bless you, man. I appreciate
great job
that.
out of Brian Quinn, who's one of the owners over there at the 1912 Club for providing the club, and we've got over 90 players. In 2 weeks' time, we got over 90 players, so we're gonna have a pretty full house. And it should be a great thing. I got a couple of the club manufacturers to donate, drivers to raffle off, and I got a couple guys that give, instructors, golf instructors, to give coupons for free, free lessons. They can bid for that and all kinds of stuff. So it'll be a good day. So, but just a tragic situation, man. The guy had asthma too, and never got the vaccine, and got hit, and it hit hard, and just ventilators. It was just a really bad scene.
That's, this country's gone through so much over the last 2 years. And, what really sucks about it is when you politicize something like this, we were just kind of talking about it a little bit, dude, someone's health. That's not a political avenue to sit down and have conversations over. Let's get every American, and you know what, too, when people are talking about all kinds of medicines to help people get better, dude, if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, this is all about getting America healthy again. You get America healthy again, back on our way again. God bless your friend, bro.
Oh yeah, thank you very much, appreciate it. I'm just looking here at this NFC, the standings. Obviously, 7 teams now go to the playoffs in each conference, right? And there's only one team that gets a bye.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the Green Bay Packers, and as it sits right now, with plenty of football to play, including Green Bay playing Seattle this week, and it looks like Russell Wilson will be back, maybe Aaron Rodgers, who knows? He could be available as far as Saturday.
Yep.
I guess the day before the game. Does he really need practice? Probably not. But maybe he won't look sharp. Dak didn't look sharp after, a week or so off either, but they're a game back now. Arizona 8-1. And Green Bay 7-2, and I think, isn't that loss for Arizona to Green Bay?
Yes, Arizona lost to Green Bay,
right?
So that to me would mean this: if they become so Arizona has to lose a game, and if they're tied, they own the tiebreaker. Green Bay does, and that means the NFC Championship game would be held in
Green Bay.
Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
Right. So, kind of the scenario that we played itself out. Is still got a lot of football to play here. And look, I think Arizona, could you imagine Odell Beckham? He ends up getting picked up there, and he ends up going there. You add him to that wide receiving core, because now you've got Ertz there. You've got,
oh my goodness,
you got Hopkins there. Even that kid Green starting to show something here. I mean,
AJ Green.
Yeah, they're running the football. They're playing good defense. I know they lost Watt for the year, but I'll tell you, man, they go up to San Francisco, and like I said, they beat the brakes off that team. They really are looking good. I still think if I had to pick a team right now that's the best team in the NFC, okay, with the body of work, I'm still going to do this, and I'm not going to look at records. You see, Harry, I don't look at records. I look at if you had to put a team on a neutral field, or if you had to put a team somewhere for like a Super Bowl, would you bet against the Bucs?
Oh, the Bucs. Okay, I was thought you were going to say the Rams, because the Rams do host the Super Bowl this year.
And they beat the Bucs.
Right.
What I'm saying is, but if you had to win a game, okay, and remember something about the Bucs last year, if you remember right, the Saints they beat the hell out of them twice in the regular season.
Yep.
Hell, they did it again this year.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up beating them.
Couldn't do it
once
in the playoffs,
they got to the
though.
playoffs, it's Brady. I mean, are you really going to go against that guy who's playing maybe some of the, I hate to say, some of the best football he's played in his illustrious career? He's
At
playing
the age
great
of 44?
ball. Yeah, 44.
Yeah.
I mean, would you bet against Brady right now?
No, I wouldn't unless he's got to go on the road to like a Los Angeles
or Green Bay.
Or Green Bay. Yeah, I would take him against Arizona. For some
me too.
crazy reason, I would take him against Arizona, even in Arizona.
Right.
But
see, what I don't want is if I need that number 1 seed, because I'll tell you why. If I'm, like you said, if I'm a team that has to play, let's just say this. Okay, say the Bucks. Are you going to have to play them in the opening round if you're the Rams or you're the Cardinals? I might not want that, Harry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I want that bye that first week. So this whole thing with him missing that game, I don't think it's going to play itself out, but it could, because I think Green Bay has been playing some great ball. And the way they played against Kansas City, if Aaron Rodgers is on that field, I think they beat Kansas City.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think they beat them by 3 touchdowns.
How about them backdooring that 7-point line, too? That was pretty impressive. I mean, Jordan Love does not look ready for prime time by any stretch, but they did find a way to cover the number, which was crazy. Yeah, right now it'd be Green Bay against, Atlanta?
Yes.
I mean, that's a walkover.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay against New Orleans, another divisional. It'd be for the 3rd time. And then Dallas and the Rams in a rematch. That would be good stuff.
Dude, both those teams are going, really?
Yeah, right. Right.
Hey, what do you make of the Cowboys? Are you like, look, they get the hell kicked out of them by the Broncos, right?
Yeah.
And hey, in Fangio,
I was stunned by that.
He did not believe at all in any way the hype of that defense and Dan Quinn and them. He just did not believe it. They ran the ball, and they were physical.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Harry, that game was not competitive.
Yeah.
It was not competitive.
It was 30-0 at one point, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
They were. I mean, we kept doing this. I was texting Greg Olson in the booth. I go, the Cowboys are going to come back and play.
Mm-hmm.
They are. He goes, I think so. They had all these packages done about the number 1 offense, and they just got the crap kicked out of them.
I was doing a pregame show at the time, and I looked up, and the score was 16-0, like right out of the chute. Might have been beginning of the second quarter. I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, I'm thinking, well, Dallas is going to wake up. They're at home, though. Dak's back, and little did I know, Dak was horrible. Like he could find anybody. He was just totally inaccurate.
Are you buying them?
I am for a little bit. I am, because I just think that they can run the football as well. I think, that was a kind of a aberration as far as Dak Prescott goes. I think he'll look a lot sharper again this week. And the defense was forcing some turnovers. I mean, they did do that. So they have the ability to do that. So I kind of buy them to at least get past the first round of the playoffs. Let's put it that way.
I think they're real too. I do. Yeah. And the only reason I'm throwing that into conversation is because I think they're running the ball a lot better now. They got killed against the run. Hey, and by the way, they get rid of Von Miller.
Right.
And they play like that. I mean, I was really impressed with the way that they all just really galvanized themselves. And they went into that place and they beat the hell out of them, man. And that's the next opponent for the Eagles too, by the way. And I think that's an injection shot for that Bronco franchise. Teddy Bridgewater. How about this one? So Teddy Bridgewater, this is the quarterback the Eagles are going to play. Mm-hmm. If you're Matt Rule in Carolina and you're looking at Sam Darnold, I'm telling you, man, Sam Darnold is the same dude that was at SC. He's a turnover machine, and he is who he is. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
If Teddy Bridgewater keeps playing like that, Bridgewater is going to take that team far. I don't know how far, because you're looking at the NFC. Look at the AFC. The AFC right now, I would go like this. I don't know. I think it's a crapshoot. I don't really think that there is a dominant team in the AFC where I go like this. Yeah, you know what? That team, maybe Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Baltimore. That kid Lamar Jackson is, without a doubt, I think he is the MVP this year so far. I think that kid is winning all these close games. He's carrying that team.
In the playoffs, though.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He's got to win in the postseason. He does. But I just think he's playing great. And if I had to pick a team out of the AFC, I would say the Ravens. You got one?
I'm just looking at it right now. You can't trust the Chargers,
No.
at all. I was wanting to believe in Buffalo, but you can't go to Jacksonville and even with your C game not come away with the win. I mean, that's ridiculous to me.
Ridiculous.
So they're out, even though them as a home field, it's kind of like a Lambeau Field situation. It can be very advantageous. It's between Baltimore and Tennessee to me. I don't buy Pittsburgh, the Vegas Raiders, the Patriots and the Chiefs right now to me are a team that is just, I don't know. I guess they'll probably get in. I could see them getting in because I can see the Raiders just falling apart.
Tell me this. And I'm so happy to be talking to you about this with Andy Reid. This is my assessment of Andy Reid, and tell me if it played out in Philly like this with him. So we all know this. In Kansas City, the guy who built that roster was not Andy Reid. The guy who built that roster was John Dorsey.
Mm-hmm.
John Dorsey was the general manager. He's the guy that made the move to go and get Patrick Mahomes. He's the guy that got Hill. He's the guy that found Kareem Hunt. Just like the same way he loaded up that place when he was the GM in Cleveland,
mm-hmm.
John Dorsey is impossible to get along with. But John Dorsey knows how to spot talent. And Andy Reid and him had a power struggle in Kansas City. He goes to Clark Hunt, the owner. They end up jettisoning John Dorsey out of that. All of a sudden now they give the quarterback a $500 million deal. And I don't know about you, but the personnel on that football team, now that Andy's had more say in the personnel, that thing's fallen off the planet. I mean, their offensive line is like movable chairs and musical chairs. Their defense, they can't get anybody on the ground.
Yeah, they can't stop anybody.
And I kind of saw a little bit of that in Philadelphia when Andy had kind of a lot of say in the personnel at the end of his tenure there, that they were kind of making those same personnel mistakes. And when he has that kind of autonomy to look at the personnel, I don't know, man.
He always had a really good offensive line. That was like his thing, on the front, defense and offense, especially offense. They've retooled that offensive line totally in Kansas City from when they were in the Super Bowl, right?
But under his direction.
Right, under his direction, yes. I mean, do you give them a little time maybe to gel? I don't know. But their defense, they got a lot of money invested in that defensive front. I think it's almost a fifth of their salary cap or a quarter
Chris
of their
Jones
salary
is
cap.
making $20 million a year.
And they don't get to the quarterback.
That's right. And all they don't get to the
they,
quarterback. And here, I'll say this to you. So you got a $500 million quarterback and you got a $2 offensive line.
Yeah.
That's not a good remedy when you're trying to sit there and trying to win games because to me, I look at Kansas City. They're not a Super Bowl contending team the way that they're playing on defense. And you know what teams are doing to him? I saw this, and I saw the Giants do this and how that they really defended Patrick Mahomes. You know what they're doing? They're playing that zone defense, and this is what I think Jonathan Gannon did a little bit against Justin Herbert. They're playing that zone defense. The only difference is he didn't disguise it as much, and they're just allowing you to lose your patience. Okay?
Yeah.
Mahomes is losing his patience.
You got to take the underneath stuff.
Underneath.
Like what Brady did to the Eagles that Thursday night.
Absolutely, but Brady never loses his patience. He's okay with going like this. Okay, 175 yards passing, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. And see what people, even yesterday, they're going, hey, man, look what Herbert threw. He threw for 356 yards. I go, yeah, but it was a one-score game. And that's kind of what people are looking at with these big arm guys now because, I mean, in Kansas City, they're just losing their patience. Kelsey's a non-factor.
Non-factor.
Hill's a non-factor. And I don't know. Is that kind of what happened to Andy when he was in Philadelphia at the end? It just ran out of steam and the roster just.
Well, Kansas City's also lost their running back too. That Clyde Edwards-Helaire guy was
I think it goes back to Kareem Hunt.
Okay.
I
go
think
back
it
further
goes
than
back
that.
to him when they lost 19% of their offensive production because he was good out of the backfield and ran the ball. They really haven't had a guy like that since that guy was in the backfield. And it's starting to play out here for them.
Andy Reid runs the ball way more than he ever did when he was here in Philadelphia. That's the one thing. If we sit here in Philly and look at saying, why didn't Andy run the ball like that when he was here? You take that plus the dynamic of Mahomes is McNabb on steroids. I mean, McNabb can't do a lot of the things, few people can, in Donovan's defense, but he has a better quarterback that can make bigger, better plays, and he ran the football. He had a good offensive line and won himself a Super Bowl. Now he's kind of paying the price because that defense really wasn't ever all that good anyway. They were content scoring 38 and letting you score 35,
That's
because
exactly
they never cover spreads either.
Well, and back when they were in AFC championship games, who knows? They may right the ship, but 3 straight AFC championship games, you mentioned the point. They're averaging 38 points, but now here's something. They were averaging 38. Now they're averaging 30.
Mm-hmm.
That number's come down even more now. And you're talking about penalties and turnovers. And that means now you're losing games 35-30 because your defense is not, your offense is kind of ticked down. And your offense was carrying your entire football team. So to me, I don't know, man. Kansas City
quarterbacks playing hero ball a little too much.
I mean, you know, funny. Jimmy Johnson said something to me about Mahomes. He goes, "You've got to be able to do this. He's a gifted player, but there's one thing with him. You've got to be cool with the minus plays." Because he's not going to really play inside of a structure. And I guess that's what I was kind of alluding to, Harry, was he's not going to play in a structured offense. And when you put him in a structured offense with those checkdowns and those underneath passes, I think he's struggling a little bit at doing that. Because, again, this is the comparison to Barry Sanders and Emmett.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever see Emmitt Smith have minus yardage play?
Nope.
I mean, I think I've told you this before. 5 yards, 15 yards, 10 yards. You look up 25 carries, he's got 150 yards. You're like, where the hell did that come from?
Right.
You see Barry go 72, but
then he'll lose
10.
12. Yeah. Right.
One of those like where he's running around. And Jimmy said, you've got to be cool with that, that, he plays like that. Same thing with Mahomes. Brady plays in a structured offense. Mahomes really doesn't. It's kind of like this. Well, hey, my boy goes over here next to the trash can.
Draw a play in the dirt. Yeah.
My guy goes, hey, you see that car next to the fire hydrant?
The green car cut in.
The green car, the third light, hit it.
That's exactly right. It's like playground football.
Yeah. And I think he falls in trouble with that a little bit.
Yep. No doubt about it. Yeah. The AFC, how impressed were you with Tennessee? I mean, nobody's talking about them, and everybody, had automatically written them off with Derrick Henry.
How good a coach you think Mike Vrabel is?
I tell you, he did a hell of a job this past weekend.
How good a coach is it? Let's take a look since he's been there.
Yeah.
He ended the Brady dynasty with Belichick in New England. Okay, remember, the last team that they played together was Tennessee. They beat him in that postseason game. He's taken Ryan Tannehill, was on the trash pile. Nobody wanted him. He's now making $30 million a year.
Right.
He took a guy in the second round of Derrick Henry, where everyone went, don't draft Alabama
running backs. Yeah.
Right. They lose him. They go, and what did they have? Less than 200 yards of total offense?
Yeah, I know. I looked at the score, and I'm like, how the hell did they do that?
Yeah, they had two, didn't they have like a pick six and something like that?
Yeah, Stafford turned the ball over a couple of times, and they committed a lot of penalties, did the Rams on Sunday night.
It was just great coaching. I'll tell you, if I'm Bob Kraft, my heir apparent is not Josh
McDaniels. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Guy here.
Yeah.
It's this guy. This is the guy with a defensive mentality like Bill.
Mm-hmm.
This is my guy. I think he's one of the most underrated coaches in all the NFL is this guy. I mean, they are really a good team. And by the way, do you know they're the number one rated team right now in the AFC?
They're
the number one seed.
Yeah, they're number one seed. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I mean, without
ahead of
Derrick
Baltimore.
Henry.
Yeah. Now, do you think
crazy.
it's sustainable, though? I mean,
I don't.
That's where I'm kind of doubting.
Yeah,
it's like they had one great showing.
They're going to tail down. I think they'll tail down a little bit because, hey, look, that dude's a movable refrigerator. There's very few running backs. I'll tell you this. Hey, Harry, of all the backs I've ever seen, he's the best back the NFL has had since Emmett and Barry, and that includes Adrian Peterson. This guy here, I mean, he's like OJ and Bo Jackson,
and Earl Campbell combined. Yeah,
Campbell. Yeah. He's that kind of stuff. I mean, that guy's a Hall of Fame. You know what, too? Him missing a little bit of this time, my opinion, I think that probably saves him down the back end of his career because he was on pace for 500 carries.
Yeah, that's a lot of touches, man.
I think he had 215 when he got hurt. I mean, he wasn't even at the halfway point, and you're talking about nearly 500 carries.
Wow.
I think this will help him.
You know, they say about these running backs, it just happens all of a sudden. They just fall off the map, you know, after they have too many touches. I mean, we had Murray here in Philadelphia after he had this big year or two in Dallas where he had all those touches. He came here, he had nothing.
Nothing
now, granted,
left.
Chip Kelly was utilizing him in the wrong way. He was he was a downhill runner, and he had this guy going to the sidelines all that, you know, trying to go, you know, with those outside zones and all that stuff. I don't think it really fit his skill set, but he was out of the league after that.
You weren't a Chip Kelly fan.
No, I was not. I was a Chip Kelly fan for college football.
Yes.
But not to come here. No, I didn't want to. I didn't
can
want to be
run
the
85
laboratory.
Hey, Harry, you can run 85 plays at Oregon.
Right.
You can't do that to your defense.
Because you got 90-some guys on the sidelines that you can shuttle in and out. They're all 3, 4, 5 star players. What do you think your defense is going to look like at the end of the year? And that's exactly kind of what happened to the Eagles under him, is that he wore that defense out. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what do you make of the play of Carson Wentz? He's not turning the ball over. His mechanics are still bad. I don't think he's ever going to sort of fix that. I don't like his lower half, and it's all arm with him, and that's why when he's inaccurate, it's high all the time. He gets you know, throws that hard high ball, but he's not turning the ball over, and you know, they can run the football. That running back is a hell of a football player.
Jonathan Taylor,
he's unbelievable. You know,
well, here's what he's on pace for. He's on pace for 4,200 passing yards. He's on pace for 65% completion percentage.
Which is very good for him.
106 quarterback rating, and 27 touchdowns to 5 picks.
Yeah.
Would you take that?
Yeah, absolutely I would.
You're right, though. One thing that I see with him, God dang, man. I mean, Frank has got to get him out of holding on to that ball too long. He just sits back there. And like, I still, you know what's crazy?
He gets nervous, too. You can see nerves.
You know what, Harry? He'll go like this. He'll play like, I think prior to some of those interceptions against Tennessee, I think he had 200 attempts without an INT or a turnover, and he was playing so well. And you're going like this, hey, man, this kid's playing well. And then he'll have the worst 8 minutes of football I've ever seen a guy, and all the crap that he did for all the fans to go, all
that equity goes away, doesn't it?
All the way. And guess this, I'm sitting here like this. I'm going like, dude, I know he's been playing good, but you can't do that.
Yeah, that left-handed throw, you didn't like that from the end zone?
Oh, my God, man. I mean, the holding on to the ball, it drives me. Dude, just throw the freaking ball away, dude. Yeah. Just throw it away to live to play another down. I don't know why players struggle with that. I actually think they're playing better. And I thought that Tennessee would walk back, especially this last week, and they get a win, less than 200 yards of total offense. I still think they're kind of in it, and Philadelphia needs them to be kind of in it, because here's something to think about.
Yep.
If I'm Chris Ballard and I'm getting close to that 70% mark where Carson Wentz, that draft choice that pick turns into a first-round pick for
75%, yep.
Do I start doing this? Hey, man, do I sit the kid at the end of the year? Because, hey, that wouldn't be something Howie would not think about.
No, you're right.
But I sit there and go like this. Hey, man, I don't want to give a first-rounder up. I'll give the 2 up, but I'm not going to give the first-rounder up. Why don't we sit the guy the last 3 games, and he's maybe at 73% or whatever it is, and you just sit him the rest of the way and call it an injury or what have you. I mean, we need them to be in it still. So
I do.
If you're an Eagle fan, you're praying that they're still in the race.
Right now, they have Jacksonville this week. They're like a 10-point favorite. They should win that game. But then
that puts them at 500.
That if they beat Jacksonville, they're 5-5.
That's great.
So then you go at Buffalo, Tampa at home.
Good night.
Now they could be 5-7 after those 2 games. But then they go to the Texans. They have the Patriots at home. That could
winnable.
Be
I think that's winnable.
Yeah. But then they go to Arizona on the road.
Wow, what a tough stretch.
It is pretty tough. And then they have the Raiders and the Jaguars again. So, I mean, if all you knew is really need them to stay in it until about 2 or 3 games to go, and I think you're good.
Yeah, and especially in the AFC where you're not going to see a dominant record this year. You're not going to see a big-time number. I think you're probably going to see 12 wins, maybe. I mean,
12-5. Yeah.
Something like that, right? 12-5. That's going to be probably a top record. We're over in the NFC. you may see a team win 15 ball games, or you may
14,
see a
15,
team win 14 ball games.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, if they beat Jacksonville, you're 5-5. And then you got to start to see, I should really pull up Tennessee's schedule too, because I don't think it's sustainable to play without
I think
Derrick
they're going to
Henry.
walk back towards
They
the
will.
Colts.
Yeah, they will. Which is all good, because I totally agree with you. If you're that general manager and you're like sitting here saying, wow, we're on our way to an 8-9 season or something like that, or 9-8 and miss the playoffs. What do we care if he plays? Let's just pull him for the last.
Why would I give up a one? Why would I?
Yeah.
As much as we love Carson, and I would tell him, hey Carson, look, we don't
Nothing
want to give
you.
up. Nothing against you, but I want that one to be somebody that we can maybe get for you.
Mm-hmm.
Help you more, maybe get
Another
wide
offensive
out,
lineman or something.
An old lineman, exactly. Yeah. Maybe somebody out there in the perimeter that can help you. I mean, this is about accumulating picks and winning at the same time. So that's something to keep an eye on.
No doubt. What about Odell Beckham Jr. there? Because T.Y. Hilton is hurt all the time.
Man, you put him on that offense there with Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. And Pittman.
Yeah.
Man, that would look good. Great. That would hey, another team that I would keep an eye on. How about the Steelers? I know that you said they looked like crap last night, and they do. The offense is all over the joint. Najee Harris is getting better, but I still think they need more help. I think their O-line is the issue.
Oh, their O-line.
Mike Tomlin, though. Here it is right here. Here's Mike Tomlin, above 500 again, never had a losing record in 15 years as a head coach in the NFL. Steelers just kind of putting around in a very weak AFC. I don't know, man. I don't think much of them, but they're going to be in the conversation.
I think that was his 150th win last night for Tomlin.
You think he's a Hall of Famer?
Oh, yeah. I think you got it. Absolutely.
You think he's a better coach than Cowher?
Boy, I'm trying to Cowher didn't have a quarterback for a long time like Ben.
True.
Cordell Stewart and Maddox.
The greatness of Cordell Stewart.
Oh, my goodness.
What was the other guy? Neil, what was his name? Neil O'Donnell?
Neil O'Donnell. He handed the Super Bowl to the Dallas Cowboys.
God, he sucked so bad.
It's terrible. I can still see that pick, the one pick six. That was out in Tempe, Arizona at Sun Devil Stadium.
That guy sucked so bad. Let me throw this one at you here. What do you make of Sirianni as a coach? By the way, how about the bouquet of flowers? I got to say this to all you Philly guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know what, man? My boy Michael Irvin had a Philly snowball thrown at him, and that's with a battery in it, and it hit him in the helmet, okay? Seeing a bouquet of flowers at Lincoln Financial, that's kind of like the weakest thing I've ever seen in Philadelphia history on a sports facility, is a bouquet of flowers being thrown. I was a little taken back by that, but how did you take this whole thing here and how he's fit into, or maybe not fit in, to Philadelphia?
Well, we got to take a break. I'll be back with that discussion when we come back for the second hour of The Middle right here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Dan Sileo sitting in for Barrett Brooks and Eitan Shander. We'll be back in 3.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
As a hardworking American, you've never experienced how tough life can be until now. A catastrophic injury while working on the job. A personal injury from someone else's negligence. Turned away by other law firms in the region who didn't bother to learn your story. It's time to meet the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm and managing partner Brian Fritz. Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm. Find out why they say, we got this. Basketball is part of how we grew up in this city. And every morning, IBEW Local 98 members take their best shot, building this city, rescuing our community from decay, and inspiring the young men and women of the region to take pride in who we are, like the Hawks who will never die. Local 98 members love tradition. John Doherty, business manager of Local 98, says it this way: the best way not to forget where you come from is to never leave.
The savoring taste of a good bag of beef jerky is so enjoyable at any time of the day, as long as you can find it. Here's what we suggest. Pure Bull Beef Jerky is our answer, and soon it will be yours. Locally produced in the Philadelphia region, this high-quality, healthy protein snack is easy to secure. Go to steersnacks.com, and you'll see hot garlic, tropical heat, Pure Bull dry rub, and our favorite, Huck and Fod. What's that? Huck and Fod. Go now to steersnacks.com.
Hour number 2 of the middle. Harry Mays along with Dan Sileo. A lot of great football discussion here today. This is like, you know, what I'd be doing at work if I worked like a regular job, you know, like in a cubicle or something. I'd be doing this with my coworkers. Like,
see, you say at work, I'd be more at a bar, you know, maybe with a pole in it,
Yeah,
and I'd be sitting there going like this, you know, hey man, you see what the hell's going on in Philly? A bouquet of flowers got thrown at the dude and he got aggravated.
Yeah.
I would have blew kisses to the guy.
Well, if there's a poll somewhere, then we need a little motley crew in the background to have this discussion.
Oh, wait,
You know what
you're
I mean?
talking that poll. I was talking more about a top 25 poll.
Oh, okay. Well, we can go through that too. Before
How
the show's
dare you,
over.
Harry?
No, but you're asking about Sirianni. Like, if he had a real defensive coordinator, you know, they'd probably have 2 or 3 more wins. I would, you know, so you're sitting here, instead of saying 3-6, they'd probably be maybe 5-4. And I'd be saying, yeah, he's doing okay, doing a pretty good job. But here's two things. I don't know what the offense is still, outside of Jalen go make a play, put everything on Jalen. And now we got to the point where we have to start running the football. So I guess I'll have to run the football. But I don't know what his real philosophy, his core philosophies are on offense. That's number one. And number 2, he's a wide receivers coach by trade. Like, that's where he cut his teeth. Now I look at these wide receivers on this team, a lot of young players. There's one that was a star, the Heisman Trophy winner, that's really coming into his own and showing me that he's worthy of the first-round draft pick. What has he done to make Jalen Reagor any better? I don't see it. You know, what about, you know, being at, you know, Quez Watkins was on the field for 55 of the 57 or 58 snaps on Sunday. I didn't even know he was on the field. So it's like he was targeted maybe 2 or 3 times. Like, I don't know, you know, what the offense is. It seems to be Devontae Smith, you know, get open, and hopefully Jalen sees you. Can the ball off or try to get it to Goddard. Like, I just can't figure it out. So that's football wise. Now, with all this other goofy stuff that he says, like doing rock, paper, scissors and all that, you know, the flowers and fertilizing and all that, I blanch at all that crazy stuff. Like, if I was a veteran in that room, I'd be like, yo, what is this guy's deal? I don't know.
I'm with you. And I'm here. You know, we mentioned a win earlier in the show that Urban Meyer's football team had against the Bills. Think about this for a second. Look at all the crap that went on down there. And you're just talking about kind of the crap around Sirianni here. Now watch this. So he brings Tebow in. You know, veteran guys in that locker room are going, Tebow, when's the last time this guy played? Why would you bring in a guy that sucked? Then you saw the stuff that went on in Ohio with the lap dance. He's embarrassing the franchise. Guys in the locker room go like this. This guy's, man, this is high school. This guy's in over his head. Then you get a win against the Bills. You know what veterans in the locker room do? They raise up and they look up and they go, hey, man, that was bigger of a win for the coaching staff than it was for the players, because the players in that locker room then are going to go like this, okay? Because Harry, when I go and speak to teams or this and that, I tell people that believing in a football coach is about blind faith. It's almost like religion. You've got to have this blind faith that this coach is going to put you in a position to have success. And if he hasn't had a resume of that, you're all on blind faith that this guy knows what he's doing. And that's kind of what Sirianni's doing here, is that he's never been a head coach where Meyer has. You've got to have blind faith. You know what this guy's doing. Such a big win for Urban Meyer's coaching staff. Now, to Sirianni, he hasn't had that signature moment yet where you went like this. Maybe the opener against Atlanta. Yeah. If Atlanta's right now a playoff team, maybe that's his biggest win so far is against Matt Ryan's group. And again, I don't think they really knew what they were going to be facing with a Sirianni and Gannon offense and defense.
Right, because they showed nothing in preseason and nobody had any idea what they were about.
Completely why I think that played out. And really nothing's really evolved from that Atlanta game. And to your point, I wrote down identity, like you said. Okay, there just doesn't seem to be a lot of balance in your approach. Okay? Like against the Chargers, man, I'm going to run the wheels off my backs against the Chargers. I'm not throwing RPOs at them. They have shown all year long the Chargers can't stop the run. They got a pretty decent secondary. Blow those guys up on the perimeter. They did that as the game went on. They kept themselves in it. Joey Bosa, I don't know what he was doing, but it just seems that, like you said, he'll look at his play sheet and go, well, shit, that don't work. Let's try this. I mean, and to me, that's not an approach. That's more of like, well, that's kind of freewheeling it. And I just think that what they're asking Nick Sirianni to do, I think the marriage between the quarterback and the coach, I don't think it's a good fit. I just think he needs somebody like a Phillip Rivers. He needs a true traditional quarterback that drops back and throws. Designing RPOs, I don't think that's his skill set. Show me a place where he's done that. I mean, he's always had the drop back quarterback.
Right. He was in San Diego after Kansas City, right? Yeah, with Phillip, and then came to Indianapolis and then had Phillip again for a year. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, look at where's he really had, I don't know. I think he may have been there with Jacoby Brissett when Jacoby Brissett started the year before Phillip got there. But people are under the notion that Jacoby Brissett is a running quarterback. He throws from the pocket. He's a pocket guy. And I just don't see where, he's had that experience of putting RPOs together. So it seems a little helter-skelter to me.
Yeah, I agree. Now, you're saying that Hurts and he don't seem to mesh. So does that tell you that the front office is seeing the same thing and they're going to spend some draft capital on a college quarterback or throw a couple of picks at Houston to try to get a Deshaun Watson? What do you think? Where do you think they're leaning right now?
This is where this is the evaluation. Okay. You got 3 number ones as of right now in the top 10, and you've got 11 draft picks as of right now.
Right.
Let's just say you end up getting rid of Fletcher, and I think Fletcher's last year is this year. I don't think he comes back next year, and that's it.
Draft day trade,
something like that. So you're probably going to have like 13 picks, pretty high picks too. And you're going to have, like I said, those 3 ones. I look at, as I said in the last hour, Jalen right now he's trending in a good place, okay? He's trending in a good place. But is that good enough to beat Dak Prescott? It's the same thing the Dolphins are doing in the AFC East right now when they're looking at Tua Tagovailoa. They're doing this. Can that guy beat Josh Allen? Is that guy going to be a guy that's going to be a person that can compete within that division with Josh Allen? I don't think he can. The Dolphins are in the same position. They've got a guy they kind of like. And to me, I think the front office, remember Howie too. Howie's got a number 2 on this and a trade-up number 2 to get Jalen Hurts. So his ass is kind of on the line. But do you know how
Is it really on the line? I wish it was.
But here's where it's on the line. If you think you're going to attract one of these free agent quarterbacks to come and play for you and that that you're making all these missteps in the draft, I'm not going there. I'm not going there knowing that this guy can't put the cabinet back together and put items back in the cabinet. That's why Tom Brady left New England.
Yeah.
They weren't putting enough people back in place once these guys were being let go. They were not. There was nothing in that building that Brady wanted. So that's why he went to Tampa. I would sit here and do this. I have to somehow convince Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson's people, and Russell Wilson. To me, Wilson's the guy.
Yeah, Wilson's
I've
the guy.
got to
I
convince
agree.
one of those three guys, because I think all three of those are going to be on the move. You've got to convince them and going like this. Philadelphia is the place. How do you do that? I mentioned it in the last hour. Go out and get some free agents to put around. You got a great tight end.
Yeah.
You've got a developing wide receiver.
Get a veteran wide receiver.
Get a veteran guy. Get,
Mm-hmm.
a guy like Julio Jones would have been great on this team to try to lure one of these guys into the building here. You've got to show the same thing to when Tom Brady was going around, Harry, and he was looking for a team. Remember, there was only two teams that were looking at him, the Chargers and the Buccaneers. He's looking at Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, and you're going like this.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. And they had the kid Hunter still a tight end.
Right.
You're looking at that and you're going, that's not bad. Then, and because he knew he was going to bring Antonio Brown and Gronk with him, he was going to add that to the mix.
Right.
He looked at the O-line. He went, nah, not the best O-line. Then he looked down at Tampa and goes, plus Bruce Arians, plus Tom Moore's down there, the guy that was with Peyton Manning. That coaching staff is exceptional. He knew Todd Bowles on the other side. He knew Byron Leftwich he could work with.
Right.
He looked at that whole dynamic and went, that's a place I want to land. If
Yep.
I'm Aaron Rodgers.
Plus no state tax.
And on grass.
Yes,
Thank
exactly.
you. Okay,
Exactly.
no astroturf in Gillette.
Right.
And you're not freezing your baguettes off. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
yep.
if you're Russell Wilson, you're like, okay, I get to play in the NFC East. I get to play the Cowboys twice. I get to play the Giants twice. My chick Sierra.
Right. She
We're
can
gonna
be in New York.
in an area where, get this, that the entire world, the Tiffany division is the NFC. How do you convince one of those guys? Howie's got to be a salesman in the offseason. I don't think there's a player in the draft. This kid Pickett from Pitt, he kind of looks decent.
You know, he was a Temple recruit. He was a commit to Temple with Matt Rule.
Is that right?
And then when Matt Rule took the Baylor job, he opened up his recruitment again and went to Pitt. Yep. Yeah.
And the kid Corral.
Yeah. From
at,
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. I don't know, dude. I'm looking around the room. Maybe the kid Ryder, the kid from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just not over the guy from Ohio, or North Carolina, Howell. I'm not really.
There's nobody that really grabs you.
No,
Yeah,
nobody.
yeah.
I see a lot of Zach Wilsons.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Okay,
Right.
the number 2 pick from the Jets.
Sam Howell reminds me of Baker Mayfield.
Like that kind of
Yeah.
guy. I mean, are you going to put a first rounder on that? I don't.
No.
I'd rather keep.
I'd rather keep Jalen Hurts.
I'd rather keep Jalen.
Yeah, right.
I'd rather
Right.
keep Jalen.
And use those 3 picks on defense or something. Go get
That's right.
yourself,
Hey,
the best pass rusher in the draft.
get him a running back too. If you're not going to have, the opportunity to draft a quarterback, that guy needs a back. And people are going, well, we have backs. I'm like, yeah, you do have backs, but you don't have like a back. You need somebody that can move the sticks, and you need somebody like a Shady McCoy back there. Someone like that if you're not going to upgrade the quarterback position. But I would try to make every single effort I could to go after a veteran quarterback. And I would target Russell Wilson.
Yeah, he'd be the guy too for me out of those 3.
You're $20 million. Am I right when I say this? The Eagles are $20 million under the cap?
I don't know exactly with all these moves.
I believe
getting
maybe
rid
it's
of Ertz.
$21 million under the cap.
Is that right? Wow.
Well, here, Harry. You want to know why you're 3-6?
Yeah, right.
You're $21 million under the cap.
Well, yeah, and plus they have all that money in Carson Wentz's contract that it was dead money.
Dude,
Yeah.
I mean, what do you
Think about it.
Most teams
That's like
are
$30 million.
Most teams are squeezed on the cap right now. I think the Eagles are like $21 million under the cap right now.
Wow. That's incredible.
I mean, you want to know why you're 3-6?
Yeah, right.
You're not really spending a lot of money. And this goes to the general manager again, watching the roster, Harry, and putting guys like not actives at the end of the year, guys not hitting their incentives. This is when you're that much under the cap, you're watching the money for the owner. Dude, that's a lot of money in the middle. That's why they could pick up that $7.5 million contract of Odell Beckham if they had to.
Yeah.
Look how much money they're under the cap.
So it's 4:00 today where he becomes available, right?
Yes.
Like for anybody. That's
I
clear,
say he
clearing
lands in
waivers.
Seattle.
Do you
Seattle or
think, you think
KC.
so?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they're going to want it because, again, remember something. Who was kicking the can also on being a little bit pissed off at the beginning of the year? Russell Wilson was also talking. And you've got – hey, remember I was talking about being a salesman? Well, Seattle's got to be a salesman a little bit and re-recruit their guy to want him to stay in Seattle
for next year,
and they've got to even make it publicly known, Harry, that they went after Odell Beckham. Okay? They've got to make – hey, you know what? We tried to get – didn't Pete Carroll go coy yesterday when he was asked the question, "Hey, you guys interested in Beckham?" He goes, "We'll just have to wait and see."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, that's the message to Wilson.
Yeah. Well, what about Green Bay? Could they
Beckham
add
and Green? Wait, I tell you what. So wait a minute. So you have Aaron Rodgers and you have Odell Beckham. That's must-see television.
That's drama incorporated.
Seriously, a soap opera.
Right.
Okay,
that's
all
better
my
than most of
children.
the stuff on TV on a Tuesday, Wednesday night. I mean, they should just scrap that Hard Knocks for the Indianapolis Colts and just take the trucks and go right up to Green Bay.
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
you know the series All My Children? Well, it's now moved to Green Bay.
Right, right. Have you seen any of the other Hard Knocks, the mid-season? I think it just started.
I haven't. So it's the Colts, right?
Yeah, it's the Colts, and I think it started. It might be an episode or so into it already. I haven't watched Hard Knocks in 3 or 4 years.
I know the guy who started. His name is Marty Callner, and he's the guy that did all those music videos and all this and that. And I asked him when he first went to the NFL with this idea that you were going to put cameras. Everybody went like this. No effing way.
No.
It's BS. You know who the guy that kind of waved his wand on it and said, "Hey, we need this. This would be great," was Jerry Jones.
Oh, of course.
The reason that Hard Knocks is because Jones convinced him and Snyder and Kraft and all these guys. And back in the day, Paul Allen, who owned Microsoft and he owned the Seahawks. Those guys all gave their blessing on it. And that's how that thing, I think Baltimore was the first team. That was a great one too. The rest of them, the one thing I say this about the Cowboys, I watched a little bit of the Hard Knocks. I came away going like this, man, that Cowboy team's boring. And I just went like this. Maybe that's the best thing ever happened to them.
Right. When have you ever said that before? Right?
Never.
Yeah,
and they were so boring. I'm like, hey, man, I think that's a reflection of the quarterback because the quarterback doesn't really kick up a lot of steam and stuff. He just goes out and plays. I really love Dak Prescott.
Parcells would have liked him too. Remember, Parcells was anti-celebrity
He's like Sims,
quarterback.
isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Wow.
Now, I know he had a commercial that he had the chunky soup commercial, but he's not a celebrity quarterback. Parcells would have loved him.
Comparison. He's like Sims.
Yeah,
he is like Sims.
Sims was the whipping boy for Parcells, though, too, man.
You know what, though, man? I have so much respect for Phil. Phil, in my opinion, should be in the Hall of Fame. He was a great quarterback. Those games in the NFC East with Washington, the Eagles. Oh my God, those games, the Cowboys, those games were with LT
and Bavaro on offense, man. I hated the Giants, but man, were they good? They were a good watch.
Was that not great football though? When those teams and back when defenses played defense, and you weren't going to get anything
playing
in those
all
games.
These shitty stadiums.
Yeah. Hey. Hey, is that a rip on the carpet in the vet? What is that? What's wrong with the vet's carpet? There used to be this giant freaking seam that was in the middle of the vet, and it would never get fixed.
Right. Yeah. and the bleachers in RFK would literally bounce up and down.
Yes.
Just literally bounce up and down. Yeah, you're right. I'm seeing a tweet here from Jeremy Fowler, Jay Fowler, ESPN. And he lists the teams with their salary cap space with regards to Odell Beckham's $8 million salary. Eagles, $20.9 million.
$21 million under the cap.
Second only to the Jaguars, who have 27.8. Boy, I wonder why they stink.
But yeah, and again, why do you think the team's sitting at 3-6? The general manager is nickel and diming the roster.
Wow.
I mean,
Broncos have 13.4. Seattle,
Harry,
you mentioned, they've got 12.6.
you're in the middle of the season and you're 21 under the cap.
Wow.
How are you 21 million under? Hey, get this.
And the
This is
dead money applied to the quarterback that's not here anymore.
Think of this for a second. So you're going to have 11 draft choices, 3 in the first round, and you were $21 million under the salary cap going into next year. Hollywood Howie is a star, man. This guy, now you know why the owner loves him.
Oh,
Here it is. You know, people always ask me the question on my show. They go like this. Well, what's Howie have on him? Pictures or something?
yeah, right,
No.
right.
He's got $20 million that
Right.
he handed the owner on a 185 salary cap, and he's got 11 draft choices and 3 in the first round.
Right.
If you're a general manager and you're an owner, hey, I'm
Yeah.
pretty good with that.
And plus, they're not paying that coach the top dollar either.
Coaches, hey, the guy at Iowa, Kirk Ferentz makes
Kirk Ferentz,
3
yeah.
times the money he makes. Okay,
Yeah.
that guy makes $7 million a year.
Does he make 7 at Iowa? Is that
Think of
right?
this for a second. Hey,
Wow.
watch this. Let's see. Brian Kelly, he makes 6. Saban makes 11.
Right.
Dabo makes 10.
Right.
You know what Ed
Jimbo
Ogeron
Fisher makes a ton too.
You know what Ogeron makes this year?
Uh,
9.5.
Wow. Oh my
9.5. And they're giving him a $27 million buyout.
buyout. Yeah. Yeah.
So, hey, coaching college football or coaching in the NFL, and I have to take shit from Howie Roseman. Hey,
Right.
you know what? Give me that Duluth job.
Right. Yeah. The only other thing is you got to recruit. That's the pain in the ass.
It is, man.
Yeah.
You got to go 12,
Yeah.
12
That's a
months,
different
and you
deal.
got to knock on a kid's door in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Hey,
Right.
Bobby, how you doing? You want to come visit me?
Right. Well, your mom makes the best apple pie.
Oh, hey, man, these chitlins are the best
Oh.
I've ever eaten.
I'm looking also on here. The Chargers.
21 million under the cap is stunning.
The Chargers have 10. Steelers have 10. Washington has 9.3. You know, Washington
And
could
you're
be a
naming all
spot,
crappy teams.
but Washington could be a spot for Devontae or Deshaun Watson.
Watson?
Deshaun Watson.
Washington, hey, I would go to my agent, that Mulugeta guy. I'd go like this to him. No.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere near a Daniel Snyder. That ain't happening, okay? That's not working for me, man.
Yeah.
You could just wave that one off.
All right, speaking of them, because there was a lot made, and rightly so, of their defense last season. Okay, that basically got them into the playoffs with an under 500 record. And so everybody thought, including me, that they were going to take that next step with a few more additions. What has happened to them defensively?
What's happened is their offense has fallen to pieces, and that offense a year ago was moving the ball.
Yeah.
And
Logan Thomas was a big loss for them. Yeah.
Oh my God, was it too? And how do you get rid of the offensive tackles also up in Williams, the kid? How do you get rid of him and send him to San Francisco?
San Francisco, yeah.
And you start looking at him, plus the chaos in the organization. I really think Rivera did a great job last year at winning that division. But I got to say, Harry, I think it was a one-year wonder, man. I think it was everything played out right. You know, they win the division. Now you got to play a tougher schedule. You know what's crazy about the Buccaneers? The Buccaneers have a lesser schedule. You know why? They were a wild card last year.
That's right.
They didn't win the NFC South. They were a wild card. They had to win 4 games. And now you give a team that was in the worst division a tougher schedule. And and plus Ryan Fitzpatrick, you know, he was
Is he going to come back at all?
I probably, hey, that guy's got more lives than a cat.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been on 9 different teams. They're just not stable at the quarterback position. They've never really been. They were a little bit with RG3, then the injury.
Yeah.
They had Cousins in the room.
Shanahan ruined him.
He did. I'll tell you, the whole organization, man, because they had a good player there, but they just brought him back too soon. It was almost like the Kevin Durant scenario, you know, when they brought him back in Golden State.
Yeah.
They brought him it was like that. They should have just sat him the rest of the year, but, you know, there's a fan base that wants to come and see him. And we know what that means. They paid tickets to come see him. The owner wanted to trade him out there, and it ended up costing him. Deshaun going there, I think Deshaun's here's his spots. To me, there's going to be more people at the table in the offseason. I do think the Eagles could be in that conversation because of the assets they have to offer.
Right.
Anytime you have 3 number ones, dude, I don't care who you are. Nick Casario's got to pick the phone up. Miami is obviously, but then you start doing this. If you're Deshaun Watson and you see how Brian Flores' team has played this year, along with Chris, and how Chris Greer,
that's
general
another
manager,
huge disappointment. Miami.
Huge. I think them and San Francisco have been two of your biggest disappointments.
What, they win 10 games last year and didn't make the playoffs, and you thought they were another team that was going to take a step.
Right. And if you're Deshaun, you go like this. Really? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I Carolina. Obviously,
a lot of good masseuses though in Miami, though. That's the thing.
Why are you asking me that? Is there some sort of connection?
Didn't you go to college there?
I know. I take offense to that, Harry.
Oh man.
You're thinking more Fort Lauderdale, but yeah, from what I hear,
a little north, just a little north.
A little north, more where
towards
the aristocratic guys.
Yeah.
People with money hang out in the north end.
But getting back to Washington, when you think about it, when you bridge the original Gibbs era to today, and you look at their quarterbacks, when you sit there and say Brad Johnson and Mark Brunell were probably your two best quarterbacks in that time period, that says it all, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
I think everybody tries to think that it's really simple to find one of these signal callers and just plug him in. Look at Denver. Yeah. Outside of Peyton Manning, they've been plugging Trevor Siemian. Yeah. All the rest of these guys.
That's why John Elway's no longer there. Yeah.
That's right. That's why he's not making defensive decisions or offensive decisions on the personnel now, and they had to hire a general manager. Look at the Dolphins.
Yeah.
They have been looking for a quarterback since
Dan
Marino.
Marino. Yeah.
How about this? So Chad Pennington has been their best quarterback since Dan Marino left. Remember the year Brady got hurt? They won the division. They were like 11-5 or something.
2008. 2008, I think it was.
That's the last time the Dolphins won the division was when they had Chad Pennington.
Wow.
So it's not that easy. I think it's Carolina, Miami. I gotta think.
Carolina. That's right.
I gotta think that the Eagles are in that conversation. How about this too? If you're Sean Payton, are you happy with what's going on in New Orleans with Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston? Jameis was playing.
That's a shame about Jameis, though.
He was playing well.
I think he was playing well. I like those, sort of those Renaissance type of stories, where the guy gets another opportunity.
Those reclamation projects.
Reclamation project. That's the word I was looking for.
I like those too because Ryan Tannehill is one of those guys. Right. But how about this? So how about Sean Payton goes like this? Hey, Houston, tell you what, and it's not in the same conference. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what. Let's go after Deshaun and see what we can do here. I'll send you Michael Thomas.
Yeah, not playing for him now anyway.
I'll send you some players. He obviously doesn't seem he wants to play there any longer. Right. And we'll put some draft packages together here, and let's see what we can do. I'll give you both Jameis and Taysom Hill and Michael Thomas and draft choices. And I'll tell you what, I'll take Deshaun.
But I'm keeping Deshaun Watson. Kamara.
Can you imagine Deshaun Watson and Sean Payton together?
Yeah. That'd be pretty good.
It'd probably keep him in New Orleans for a couple more years.
Nobody's talking about New Orleans, though. You're right. That's a good spot.
Well, they need a quarterback. In my opinion, everybody needs a quarterback when it's Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, he's top 5 talent. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Guy.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a timeout. We'll be back for the last half hour of a Tuesday middle show with Dan Sileo and Harry Mays.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass. Free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. 1 free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
As a hardworking American, you've never experienced how tough life can be until now. A catastrophic injury while working on the job. A personal injury from someone else's negligence. Turned away by other law firms in the region who didn't bother to learn your story. It's time to meet the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm and managing partner Brian Fritz. Badly injured? Call the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm. Find out why they say, "We got this." Basketball is part of how we grew up in this city. And every morning, IBEW Local 98 members take their best shot, building this city, rescuing our community from decay, and inspiring the young men and women of the region to take pride in who we are, like the Hawks who will never die. Local 98 members love tradition. John Doherty, business manager of Local 98, says it this way: the best way not to forget where you come from is to never leave.
The savoring taste of a good bag of beef jerky is so enjoyable at any time of the day, as long as you can find it. Here's what we suggest. Pure Bull Beef Jerky is our answer, and soon it will be yours. Locally produced in the Philadelphia region, this high-quality, healthy protein snack is easy to secure. Go to steersnacks.com, and you'll see hot garlic, tropical heat, Pure Bull dry rub, and our favorite, Huck and Fod. What's that? Huck and Fod. Go now to steersnacks.com.
And welcome back to the middle. Harry Mays and Dan Sileo taking you up to the top of the hour. And a lot
thing's
of great,
flying.
It is, totally. 90 minutes just went by. I mean,
Harry goes like this to me. He goes, "Hey, you want to get someone on?" I go, "I don't care."
Yeah. He couldn't do it anyway. He teaches at Villanova, and today, I guess, is the day that he's teaching. But I got to ask you about this latest situation. Of course, you had the Henry Ruggs disaster last week. I mean, what a situation that is. I'll never get it when you're an NFL player and you have all that security personnel at your disposal. Basically, I mean, you can speak to that more than I can, but from what I understand is if they're in a bind or they need something, they can pick up the phone and call, and a guy will be there in 10 minutes, and boom.
On the back of our NFL Players Association card, we have, even for retired players, we have 24/7 service to a ride that the NFLPA will pick up if you're too drunk.
Right.
It's on the back of my card, and I wish I had my wallet here with me, but it's really cool. Hey, just call, and the league will pick, and the Players Association actually picks it up. Here's what I'll say to you, Harry, on this. Listen, when I was younger and I got to the NFL, and all of a sudden I had millions of bucks in my pocket, and I was driving a Corvette around. I had a Lotus, a Maserati. I had all this stuff. I did. It was, you just think
Invincible.
It's invincible. It's narcissist. It's not a lot of people's opinions matter. The only opinion that matters is your own. The ones that can have more clarity when you're younger are the ones that understand you're a professional. It's about acting like a professional all the time. And sometimes, I mean, Harry, what gets me is this kid was schooled at Alabama too.
Yeah.
So he knows that there's always a microscope on you.
Right.
And you're in Vegas, dude. I mean, you know what I give Sean McVay a lot of credit for? You got a bunch of football players in Los Angeles. Have you heard Aaron Donald or Jalen Ramsey or have you heard like Matthew Stafford out running up and down Sunset Strip? Those guys know the pitfalls that are in Los Angeles, and they act accordingly.
Right.
You have to know this. One of the reasons I tell people that my failures in the NFL were a lot to do with my mental approach and also me not understanding what it was about to be a professional. I mean, look, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't act like a pro 24, it's not a 8-hour act like a pro. And then once that clock goes away,
go party.
The days of Lawrence Taylor hanging out and crack dens, those things are over with because people have these things now.
Yep.
They're going to take pictures of it. It's a different world where, you're not going to get away with your free time,
Right.
and you're not going to get away with some of the stuff you're doing. So you're right. I mean, look, I feel for the kid. The kid is a good dude. He's a great kid who made a life-changing, altering decision that is going to cost people's lives, his own life, his fortune,
His career,
other people. Look at the impact that he's had. And unfortunately, like I said, good people make tragic mistakes, and that's what's happened here. It's just I've seen this story play out just way too many times.
Yeah, and now you got the Damon Arnett story, which hit yesterday, and he was their second first-round pick in the 2020 draft. So Henry Ruggs and Arnett are both gone. I mean, you talk about a sort of misjudging character or bad luck. I mean, it just.
Well, you got a TV GM.
Well, yeah, true. But, Gruden was heavily involved in those player personnel choices, too.
Well, I think he was right there with him.
Yeah.
But, hey, watch this, though, Harry. I mean, character's the last thing evaluated. You start – you don't do this. Watch.
Well, yeah, it's talent first, yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah. You go, wait, can the kid play? You start there. Not, is he a good character guy?
Yeah.
Okay? You start, hey, can the kid play? How fast is he? Hey, is he smart? Does he love football? And then you go like this. Oh, by the way, is he a good dude?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's always the fifth thing on the list, where to me, I've always said, look, you're not going to win championships with choir boys.
Right.
You're just not. But you got to be a good dude.
Yeah.
You've got to be a smart dude. You've got to be people that understand the room, where you are. And to me, that's an evaluation. Now, I will give people some credit. I'll give people some latitude here. And I'm going to show you why I say that. This COVID thing has not allowed a lot of these personnel people to have face-to-face meetings with these players, where you had those one-on-one meetings back in the day, and you had interviews. I think the only time, I was talking to Kevin Colbert a couple months ago. The guys that they drafted this year, Kevin said that was the first time that he had a face-to-face conversation with those people that the Steelers drafted when they went to Pittsburgh for minicamp. They did everything Zoom.
Right.
A little different than sitting here on a Zoom, hey, man, what's your family like? It's another thing when you're looking at a guy in the face, there's nobody in the place, and you're going like this. Hey, what about this story about you hitting a cop in the face? What is this about? Tell me what the story was. I want to know, because I'm going to give you $5 million, and I want to know when I go to my owner, and he asked me, how come you gave this guy money here, and you punch this guy in the face? A little different than when you're on a Zoom. You're prepared better. You got notes around you. You may have a guy behind you. You don't know. When you're sitting there and guy looks at me like Jerry Angelo, he goes like this to me. This is one of the greatest lines. So Jerry Angelo goes like this. By the way, they drafted me 56th overall as a junior. So Jerry Angelo and Rich McKay are sitting in the room with me. Rich is the president now, I think, of the Falcons.
Yes.
And so he goes like this to me. He goes, okay, so what if plan A doesn't work? What's your plan B? I said, let me tell you boys something. Anybody who has a plan B doesn't have a plan A.
Good answer.
And those guys looked at me and went,
wow,
"Come on, Sileo, you ain't that smart. Who gave you that line?" I said,
good
"No,
answer.
no, man. That's my line, man. That's my line, man. You can't row out the sea with one paddle and have one foot on the shore and go, I'm all in. You got to be all in, bitch. Let's go."
That's a good answer.
They were like, wow, they really loved that answer. And how about when Jeff Ireland asked Des Bryant, hey, man, I hear your mother's a prostitute.
Oh, yeah. That was
And
terrible.
they were going like this. They wanted to see his reaction. I'm like, I think you could have got it a little different.
Yeah, you could have gone about it a little bit different way.
Right. I mean,
wow.
So, but it really is about evaluating a kid's character. And how about them, though? They're still winning ball games in all light of everything.
They are.
That's a spot too, Beckham.
Bad loss to the Giants, though.
Oh, God.
Bad loss. I think Deshaun Jackson's going to the Raiders, isn't he?
Deshaun Jackson, yeah.
I think Deshaun's gonna end up.
Can you imagine Deshaun and Odell for Carr? That might be some good looking.
Oh wow! To go along with that Waller kid, the tight end.
Man, I tell you, that'd be nice looking, man. I tell you what, that would uptick the Raiders.
Yeah, it would. And who's that other kid?
You got a running back there.
Moreau, the tight end that tore up the Eagles.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at their
Jonathan Gannon defense.
What's that?
The Jonathan Gannon defense.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, by the way, man, I don't want a defensive coordinator's name Jonathan. I want it to be Haystacks. Who's your defensive coordinator in Philly? It's Haystacks Calhoun Sileo. Hey, this is what we're going. I don't want a Jonathan Gannon. I want it to be Haystacks Calhoun. I'm the D coordinator of the Eagles.
That's
we
true.
run. What kind of defense do you run, Sileo? We run a sick 'em and eat 'em defense.
But I'm looking at their number one picks this year was Alex Leatherwood, the lineman from Alabama, who I don't think is very good.
No, he had a bad back, didn't he?
Yeah, and I think he's already – isn't he a guard? Wasn't he a tackle that's already been moved to guard?
Anytime you hear a guy get drafted as a tackle and they move him to guard,
that's a problem.
That ain't working.
Right. Ruggs the third and Arnett were 2 first-round picks the year before. Neither are on the team anymore. And the year before that, I remember when Mayock picked Cleveland Farrell out of Clemson. I'm like, what? He took him 4th overall or whatever it was? Like, he's like a backup line. He's like a rotational guy.
Well, name me this. I'll throw this out at you here. And I think some of the guys brought up the guy's name. Let's take a look at your boy Howie Roseman's draft over the last couple of years here.
I'm trying to distract myself from that.
Let's do this with Mike Mayock. Okay, so do you know that it was 16 years ago that the Eagles drafted a guy that was in the non-first round lineup, and he's the last All-Pro that the Eagles drafted. It was 16 years ago. That wasn't a first rounder.
Trent Cole
is the last guy.
5th round out of Cincinnati.
He's the last guy that was a non-first rounder that made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? That's incredible.
Is unbelievably bad.
Yeah, it's horrendous. You're right.
I mean, who have they drafted of significance on defense on that other side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean the only Pro Bowler is Fletcher. In the first round, he was a first-round pick, and the only reason they got him, the story was, the defensive line coach was watching Thursday Night Football, and Mississippi State was playing, and he was just blown away by the way Fletcher Cox just controlled the line of scrimmage. He called up Reed and said, "I need this guy in my defense," and they ended up getting him.
Wow, man!
Yeah,
that's like the story with Jerome. So we're down and. This guy used to hang out at our practices all the time. And I go like this. I see him driving these fancy cars, and I go over and I go like this. I go, "Hey, man." I go, "Who are you here to watch?" He goes, "That guy right there is my favorite. I really love the guy." And I go like this. I go, "Yeah, man." He goes, "Man, I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him in Philadelphia." And I go like this. "Okay, what are you, like a fortune teller or something?" He goes, "No, I fucking own the Eagles." I went like this. "What?" He goes, "I'm Norman Brayman." I'm like, "Oh, you're like the caddy guy. I need a caddy." I go, "Oh, no. He had targeted Jerome's junior year." And everyone knew he was going to Philly.
Right.
And Norman Brayman used to come to practice all the time. And him and Jerome, man, he'd take Jerome out. Oh, that was dude, that was a done deal, man. That was he was going there, and he went to Buddy and goes, "This kid's a game changer." Well, Buddy came and saw him. The only thing that convinced Buddy to draft him is that after every sack, Jerome would do this. And Buddy loved that. Anything military, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jerome used to always go like this. And he came down, met him a couple times. Buddy didn't really like me too much. He goes, "You think I want 2 of you guys?" He goes, "You think I want 2 of you assholes around here? Get out of here, Sileo. That ain't working for me."
Which draft do you want to go to with the Eagles? I mean,
okay, let's go 3 years ago. Anybody still on the team?
2018. Okay. Yeah. Dallas Goedert, Avonte Maddox, and Josh Sweat, and Jordan Mailata. That's actually the best draft out of all of them.
Go to the one before that.
Okay. Derek Barnett, who had another costly penalty this past Sunday against the Chargers, jumping off sides on a 3rd and 3rd and 4 or something. And they ended up scoring. Money. Yeah, he totally. Sidney Jones was hurt and fell to the 2nd round, no longer on the team. I think last I saw him, he was in Jacksonville. Rasul Douglas, who last made a play for the Green Bay, wasn't it Green Bay the other night?
Yeah.
A week or so ago. And then Mac Hollins, who's in Miami, is like a special team wide receiver.
So all these guys are off the team.
Yeah, basically. And Derek Barnett will be off the team after this season. So that's your 2017 draft.
Okay, so like his best draft was the 18 draft?
2018, it looks like.
2018.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How about 2016? Give me that one.
Oh, let's see. Let's go back there. Okay, well, that's Carson Wentz.
He's off the team.
Sayamalu, who's hurt, but was a starter. Wendell Smallwood. I mean, come on. Halapulavati Vaitai, who's with Detroit as starting guard. Jalen Mills is on another team. I forget. Is he in New England still? I can't remember. And that's it. The other guys never made the team.
It doesn't look like a real big success rate here.
No. You go back to 2015. It's Nelson Aguilar was the first-round pick. He's with New England now, right? And was with Oakland or Las Vegas. Eric Rowe was with New England, and I think he's out of the league. Jordan Hicks is actually playing pretty well for Arizona, but he couldn't stay healthy here. He was hurt all the time.
Wasn't he taken out of that role in 15 though? I thought Roseman was taken out of that role.
I thought it was 13 because 13 or 14 because that's when Chip came, was 2013.
Okay.
They drafted Lane Johnson and Zach Ertz in the first 2 rounds of that year. Yeah. Benny Logan, who was a pretty good tackle for a while here, 3rd round. Then Matt
So what
Barkley.
do you make of him as a talent evaluator?
Howie?
Yeah.
0. Absolute 0. F.
Yeah. So wait a minute. So you've got the biggest draft in the history of the Eagles coming up, and the dude that you think is a 0 as GM is going to be in charge of that picks, and you're $20 million today under the salary cap, so that you're going to be able to do this. There's not a player that's going to be a potential free agent that the Eagles are not going to be in a conversation with that can help your football team. Every guy, think of this, Harry, every guy that's in the league right now, outside of these big frontline quarterbacks, the Eagles could pick the phone up and go like this. I'll give you 2 ones, and I'll give you Fletcher, and we'll eat some of they could eat some of the money because of how much they're under the cap.
How much the room they have, yeah.
And get this, get the pick, maybe get a 3rd rounder for him. Hey, we'll eat next year. We'll eat 70% of the money.
Send us a 3rd rounder in exchange.
Send me a 3rd rounder. Make it a 3. I'll take this. You can have Fletcher. It's almost like the Richard Seymour deal that when New England sent him to the Raiders, you know, he still had some Pro Bowl years left there with them. I still think Fletcher in a good system with a decent defensive coordinator. Like, how about this? You sent Fletcher Cox to New England. He's Vince Wilfork.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that guy.
Oh, me too, man. I love Big Vince, man. Oh, you could eat a bowl of soup off his head. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, man, that guy was a run stopper, dog.
Oh, yeah. 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 All right, let's look at 2019. Andre Dillard is a backup tackle, can only play the left side, 1st-round pick. Miles Sanders has been good, although they don't utilize him enough. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was a 2nd-round pick. He's a great blocker on special teams. And the other 2 guys never made the team.
Is that the kid Whiteside from Stanford?
Yes.
I met him at a Pac-12, man. I thought he was soft as tissue paper. Yeah. But, hey, that's just me just running into the guy, man. I was like, I don't know, man. I mean, smart guy, though, but I have not seen anything from him.
Yeah.
What's wrong with this kid, Rieger?
I don't know. I mean, he's got all kinds of speed. Doesn't seem to catch the ball. I mean, they've thrown it to him early in a couple games earlier in the season just to kind of get him started, and he drops the football. And then I think Jalen Hurts is like, you know what? I'm not even looking your way anymore.
But he doesn't fight for the ball, Harry.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't come back. I think maybe he's afraid of falling on his wallet or something. I mean, this guy, just doesn't fight for the ball. He doesn't help his quarterback out. If the passes aren't perfect, he's not stretching out for it. I mean, you got a struggling quarterback or you've got a young quarterback, you got to do everything in your power to make that guy a better football player, because I'll tell you what, the wide receiver position in I've said this to everyone. I think the wide receiver position is the most overrated position in all of the NFL. And Tom Brady makes a habit of showing you, okay, so wait, Amendola, Edelman, Wes Welker, Deion Branch.
Yep.
Okay, Troy Brown. These are dudes they won Super Bowls with.
Right. Didn't Troy Brown play both ways one time? Didn't he play D-back? Yeah, right.
Yeah, he played DB, was like a two-way player. I mean, I'm going like, so if those guys are your wideouts, what's the last big time wide receiver that won a Super Bowl. I mean, maybe I guess you call Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans is probably a big time. It's a big time player. But man, I mean, I don't know. I don't really need that position, especially if I don't have the signal caller. That's why I looked at when the Eagles drafted Devontae, I said this, why?
What about Hill in Kansas City?
You think that's a good one.
I mean,
I think he's an elite player. I do. I think he's elite.
It's all speed. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's an elite guy. I don't think he's going to get you 100 catches.
No, probably not.
Okay.
No, they did target him like 15 times 2 weeks ago.
See, yeah, and you know what though too? Here and now, when you got Kelsey underneath, hey, yeah, he's elite. When you have Kelsey underneath, I don't know why Kansas City's not. I don't know why their offense is struggling the way it is, man. You got Kelsey underneath, and you got Hill over the top. Boy, you put Beckham on that team, Harry.
Oh.
Holy cow, man!
Yeah. This could really change the course of the NFL depending on where he goes today, right?
And
you're
the
making a
storyline
case for it.
Now, let me ask you this though: Do you want to see? To me, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to rip my roster up for a guy that's making $7.5 million. Follow me here. Okay, unless, and all the teams that are under the cap with a lot are all horrible teams. Why would they do that right now?
Right.
When you're trying to line yourself up for next April. But if you're teams like Dallas or you're some of these teams that are so squeezed against the cap, aren't you praying? You're hoping he clears waivers.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can restructure a deal for him where it's incentive laden, it's base salary, league minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And if he makes it's just the same thing that Antonio Brown. And what I mean by the Antonio Brown scenario, think about what they did in Tampa Bay. You're going to get the best behaved Odell Beckham, this guy rolling into your place. He's going to be on his best behavior. This is the third team now that he'll be on. Look at the equity that Antonio Brown has built up over the last couple of years here working with Brady.
And living with him.
And by the way, he's on his way back to potentially being a consideration for the Hall of Fame. He wins another Super Bowl this year. You're talking a 2-time Super Bowl. He's the fastest to 900, which is crazy. He's the fastest to 900 catches, and he had that disastrous year last year.
Right.
But look at what Brady did. Brady built him back up again, where the league, he went out in the open market, Harry, and he thought he was going to get $7 million as a base salary. Nobody took him because you know why? They're not sold he's going to behave yet.
Right.
Well, maybe another year with Brady, you start doing this. Well, he's at 1,000 catches now. He's still Antonio Brown. Let's take a flyer on him. He's been well behaved. Bruce Arians has said it on my show numerous times. He's one of the greatest teammates I've ever seen. That's what I think Beckham has to do. He has to pick a place. If I were him, I'm praying to clear waivers. The $7 million will be investing in yourself. Let me go to Green Bay. Let me go to Seattle. Let me go to New England, maybe. Let me go to some place that could build my equity up, sign a 1-year contract, go out in the open market and go like this. Look, I helped the team win a Super Bowl or get to the playoffs. I was on my best behavior. And then maybe you sign your own ticket to a team that you really want to go to where you're going to get a contract that's going to be more suitable to what you are making.
And I don't think Odell really has been a big distraction or a problem when he's been with Cleveland. I mean,
absolutely. You know what? I think that's been something that hasn't been reported enough.
Yeah.
I don't think he's been a headache there.
No.
I think the quarterback, if anything's been the headache.
Yeah, right. Now, I got to ask you, we only have a couple minutes left. What did you make of the taunting? Did you see the taunting penalty against the linebacker for the Bears last night, Marsh?
I did.
I mean,
this is another example of the NFL officiating having too much latitude when it comes to decisions on the game where, get this, it's a personal decision.
It's
and
a point of emphasis, they keep saying. Yeah.
And to me, when that guy stuck his ass out like that, I think he should be suspended. How do you know he's not fixing a game? How do you know he's not in with a bookie? It sure looked fishy that you would do that to that guy, throw yourself into it. He's running away and you throw the flag like that. I don't know about you, Harry, but to me, I mean, Tim Donaghy's of the world are going, hey, somebody needs to take a look at that thing over there, because if I were the NFL, I would immediately suspend him. I would take him off of any duty that he has coming up, because you can't have somebody doing something like that. And again, it was away from the play, had nothing to do with anything, but he was trying to dictate the outcome of a game when you do critical stuff like that.
Yeah, it was Tony Correnti, I believe, was the official.
That's his name. And get this, he supposedly has a great reputation, too, as a great ref. He's won Super Bowls.
Yeah, he has. But he claims that it wasn't about him running into him and hip checking him. It was about after he did his little sack move that he always does, he sort of lunged towards the sideline of the Steelers, and he considered that taunting. That is just ridiculous.
Yeah, when I was telling my wife that, I took a couple dollars out of the bank account, it was really for gasoline. It wasn't really for that club with the pole in it. It was more for the gas I needed in my car. Yeah, so, I mean, come on, dog, man.
You're not buying it.
Crazy dog.
No,
come on,
No,
man.
I don't either.
Trying to cover your ass like that?
Right.
Hey, this guy's lied a lot before because he's trying to cover his tailbone there, man. Not a good look. Not a good look, dude.
Oh, man. Well, you know what was a good look today is you sitting in here for Barrett and Natan, man. I've had a blast.
Dude,
really
I mean, I tell Junior, that's what I call Xander. He hates it too. I call Junior. I go like this, man. I see what, and I told everybody, you're like, what did I say? You were.
Bruno said that I was like Kevin Bacon or something.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah,
you can play any role, put you anywhere, and you work. It's like the universal screwdriver.
Or a Swiss Army knife or something.
Yeah, you're like the freaking Swiss Army. Yeah. Is that a corkscrew? Man, that's hairy.
Appreciate it, man. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. You still got a show today?
I do, yeah, man. We're going to have some fun a little bit later on. We go back and forth.
Who you got coming on? Anybody?
We go on 4 to 6 Eastern.
Okay, but who? Any guests already that are
booked? Romanowski.
Romo.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that guy.
Yeah. Two guys like me, both of us going after you.
I loved running into him at Super Bowls in Atlanta and Miami. He's a great guest. Yeah.
Hey, Nutrition 52.
Nutrition. Yeah.
It's a game changer.
And his wife's big into it too, right?
Oh yeah. Hey, remember we were just talking about, hey, were those things sent to your house? No, sent to my wife.
Yeah. Everybody needs a fall person, a fall guy.
Absolutely.
Right?
My wife's my fall person. Then she kicks me in the head later having peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for dinner. Good night.
All right, Dan. Enjoyed it, man.
Take care, brother. Thank you so much.
All right. See ya.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
As a hardworking American, you've never experienced how tough life can be until now. A catastrophic injury while working on the job. A personal injury from someone else's negligence. Turned away by other law firms in the region who didn't bother to learn your story. It's time to meet the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm and managing partner Brian Fritz. Badly injured? Call the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm. Find out why they say, "We got this." Basketball is part of how we grew up in this city. And every morning, IBEW Local 98 members take their best shot building this city rescuing our community from decay and inspiring the young men and women of the region to take pride in who we are, like the Hawks who will never die. Local 98 members love tradition. John Doherty, business manager of Local 98, says it this way: the best way not to forget where you come from is to never leave.